The whole island was without power, so there was no freaking Wi-Fi.
So,
what would you do if you found out your dad had a whole other family and you at 14 years old now currently found out that what you thought was your best friend is actually your half-brother?
Yeah. She looks like the mangy dogs that we saw running around Puerto Rico.
I have a rule of you cannot put Christmas stuff up before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It does not need to be overrun by Christmas. It was a complete ghost town and just dogs walking around everywhere. Oh my God. The other taxi drivers that we had were complete scam artists. The fireworks show we missed because we are old and boring. The moon felt so far away there. That was like my one main observation. It feels so much closer here.
Which is weird because it's literally the same distance. I intentionally sat behind him, so if I needed to choke him out to make sure we got to the right place.
Okay.
Welcome back to the He's Wrong, She's Right podcast. I'm Andrew. This is Nona. Nona, we are so back.
We are so back, and your voice is so gone.
Sorry, guys. I'm like fighting multiple different things. We just got back from Puerto Rico 2 days ago, roughly.
Yeah, but we'll get to that at the end of this episode because we've got to catch you up on everything from Christmas break.
We were planning on recording a couple of other episodes and we weren't going to close out the year as early as we did, but my dog ended up getting worse if you've been following along in the podcast. And if you have been following along in the podcast, but you're not yet subscribed, get subscribed to whatever platform.
Get subscribed. Chloe hates that phrase.
Hit the subscribe button. If it's got the little notification bell, hit the little notification bell, turn that on so you get a notification right when the new videos come out. And leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think. At the time of recording this, today's Monday, January 6th.
It feels like January 1st for me because it's my first day back to work and I took one whole week off from working, which I never ever do.
I mean, you kind of screwed the pooch on that yourself. You weren't really trying to. You forgot a password, or changed the password.
And then the whole island was without power, so there was no freaking Wi-Fi.
So, I remember the intro that I want to use, but I'll use it on the next one. But at the time of recording this, our first episode of this season, we're calling it our second season.
Okay, this is season 2, episode 1.
So we ended season 1 with John and Lindsay Salter.
Mm-hmm. They were great guests, by the way.
And we're starting season 2 with Nick Reaper 33 Irving. Yes. So if you haven't watched that yet, go ahead and go back and watch those.
And to be clear, I didn't know anything about him prior to us interviewing him, and I learned so much. And I put the episode on when I was taking Cooper to school this morning, and I turned to him at a stoplight, and I was like, what would you do if you found out your dad had a whole other family and you at 14 years old now currently found out that what you thought was your best friend is actually your half-brother?
Yeah.
And he was like, and I was like, no, I mean, his parents were still married, not that they separated, got divorced or anything. And he went, it was just silence. And he couldn't even comprehend.
Yeah. That's the Nick's story is crazy. Seriously, go watch that. Also, there's links in those descriptions and stuff for his latest books. Or latest book, and with a new one coming out next month. So we're gonna have a giveaway. So also go back, watch that video. Best comments.
We are?
Yeah.
What's the giveaway?
We're sending signed copies of his books.
Oh yeah, duh. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. It's been these past 3 weeks have blurred together in what feels like 3 days.
Yep. And she was not down here.
No, as soon as she hears that we sit down, we pull our chairs out. She's conditioned.
Yep.
She's like, all right, podcast dog, here I come.
Yep. She's trying to figure out where to sit on the couch. So Whisper had to go into the hospital. A lot of our episodes this is being recorded the day before we're releasing it because we just don't have back catalog. Yeah. But normally we have something. We have something that's going to, like the Nick Irving episode, we recorded that early last month.
Right. The kids were still in school. It was before Christmas
December
break.
12th, I believe, because you said the next day was one of the kids' birthdays. Cash is
one of the kids. Oh my God.
I couldn't remember if I could say that or not. I'm like, no, we literally said it in that episode, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So my dog was hospitalized end of November, right? First week of December.
No, it was December.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was that same week as when we recorded the Nick Irving episode because I didn't realize we were still going to continue to record it because of how bad she was doing. And you were like, no, it's on the books. Let's just crank it out. And
sure.
So we powered through it, even though it wasn't a good time.
Yeah. So she's doing a lot better, but she's lost her vision now. So
that being said, she has gotten a little spunkier the past couple of days.
Yeah.
It's been the most energy that we've seen from her in a month.
More than a month.
2 months.
Probably
at
since
least.
the summer. Since really before she was diagnosed.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was early October. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So she's got diabetes. If you end up seeing her walking around and see a bunch of bald patches, that's from all the various different IVs and
blood
glucose
draws,
monitoring. And yeah, she looks like the mangy dogs that we saw running around Puerto Rico.
Oh my gosh. Which, by the way, he freaking wanted to bring them home. We already have 3 dogs.
You should have seen some of the little puppies, okay? Some of the little puppies.
I am not discrediting the fact that they were adorable. And of course, I wanted to rescue them all. But we already have 3 dogs.
Right. But so to the point, and actually a huge shout out to our cab driver that we lucked into a scenario, which we can get to in a little bit, but shout out to Stephen Frias.
I only knew his first name.
Well, he explained to us that when he got his social security card and his license and stuff and going back and forth between the U.S., he had his mom's last name hyphenated. I think it's in my phone, it only shows up as his dad's last name. It's not hyphenated. It's how his Google account is set up. But anyways, yeah, we'll drop some info in the description as well. I got a link from him for a Facebook page. So if people want to check that out, reach out to him. His family they own 1 or 2 Airbnbs and they manage a couple others for some other people. Mm-hmm. Their family were like cab drivers for a long time. And that's what he does as like a side hustle now.
And then graphic designer is his
So,
primary.
But yeah, we looked into that situation. We were looking at all the different options. The place that we stayed was on the south side of the island. We flew into San Juan, so it was an hour and a half down the island to where we were staying. And we were debating whether or not, right off the gate, I was like, we need to rent a car. And
you're just completely missing everything else that we needed to talk about before Puerto Rico.
We can walk backwards at the end.
No, we talk about things in a consecutive order.
No.
Whisper happened first. Your birthday happened second. Christmas happened third, and then Puerto Rico. And he's just going from Whisper to Puerto Rico. So apparently, Christmas doesn't matter.
What do we do for Christmas? We opened presents. The tree's already gone.
Oh my goodness, Andrew.
We took the tree down before we left.
Yes.
To
get a nice clean house again.
So that's why we don't really have very many episodes with the tree up, because
we only have 2.
Is it only with Nick
our 2
John?
guests? Yeah.
Yeah. It was up for almost the entire month. I mean, it was up for a month.
It was up for the entire month. It was up for exactly a month. It was up from...
We took it down on the 29th.
The weekend for Black Friday, which wasn't that the 29th also? Didn't Thanksgiving fall on the 28th this year?
Something like that.
So it's like the 29th to the 29th. It was exactly a month. Oh my gosh. Anyways, hold on. Pause on the Puerto Rico stuff.
For a month and for the month is 2 different things. That's why
for a month.
Yeah.
A month. Okay, so yeah, I have a rule of you cannot put Christmas stuff up before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It does not need to be overrun by Christmas. Mm-hmm. So Christmas stuff goes up on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and then it comes down shortly after. Now, we only took it down before New Year's because we were leaving. But anyways, so Whisper is doing a lot better. But yes, she had to be hospitalized for, what was it, 3 days?
4.
4 days. Yeah.
3 nights, 4 days.
And don't even ask about the vet bill because, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. But.
And it was all like nickel and dime charges. It was all.
That's how it is for literally everything.
I meant like repeat, like the same thing.
Give birth to a baby. Here's administering 1 Tylenol. Here, $25. Nipple cream for your top nipples. Well, breastfeeding, $35.
So all that, when I don't know what kind of machines they use, but they used to use these machines called Pyxis machines. And so when you went to take something out of these cabinets, more or less of what they are, or these drawers, they're locked drawers, you type in or use your badge, depending on which system you're using. And then you have to also put in the room number, unless it's something like generic that you're using just to use, like tape. But you put in the patient's room number when you check stuff out. So if there's like a suture kit, whatever, and say you take out multiple because the doctor isn't sure which one he wants to use yet.
You're still getting billed for all of them.
No. You're not billed for all of them as long as it's returned.
Right. And most of the time it's probably not.
Maybe, I don't know. We were good about returning it when I worked there. But yeah, it's like every time you check something out, it's billed for whatever piece rate it is or whatever. And then obviously your insurance will either negotiate or they won't, depending on what their pre-approved or pre-agreed prices are. So yeah, it was like a lot. It was like a fourth or a third of the entire stay's cost was the like every 2-hour glucose test. It was like $25 per glucose test every other hour, basically.
So if you can do some math, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, but before Christmas, we also have decided that we are going to move to another area outside of Wilmington. And we went and looked at some neighborhoods and houses.
Yep.
And you want to hear something crazy? I just did some mental math because we're doing mental math right now. If each of our roughly 2,500 subscribers sent us $300, we could buy, $3,000. Sorry, $300. Yeah. 2,500 times 300, we could buy our house.
Okay. You mean in
that came
cash.
out really weird.
In cash, you mean?
In cash?
Yeah. Like outright. Not mortgage it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I meant like as a gift. Like if each subscriber donated $300, that would total the house that we looked at.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Anyways, so then it was obviously Christmas break and Christmas. But before that is Christmas Eve, which is Andrew's birthday. Yep. He has the lovely gift of being born on Christmas Eve and having to share that time. So he said that the first time that I threw him a birthday party was the first birthday party he ever had.
Yep.
Which is really sad.
When you're growing up, everybody's either with family or on vacation or whatever, so you never.
I experience that with Cash every year because this is the 13th of December. But usually that's the weekend before school lets out. So usually a couple of kids can still come.
Well, and remember what I said. I think a lot of the reason is
everybody's broke from buying Christmas presents that they feel like they can't.
So they would rather just not show up and say, screw
even when you say no gifts necessary or please don't buy him anything, just your presence is the present.
Yeah.
But everybody feels guilty about that.
Okay.
But anyways, so for his birthday present, I got him a trip to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I went by myself. She got us a trip to Puerto Rico for my birthday present.
And he was like all weird about when he opened it. I put a bikini in a new backpack because that's how he travels, is with a backpack, not any kind of luggage or anything. And he opened it up. when he opened it in front of the kid, he put it on. And Charlotte's only reaction was, Mom, you are going to allow him to go in public like that? She was completely unfazed by the fact that we were going to leave, go on a trip or anything. But she was genuinely scared for everybody's eyeballs that they were going to see all that
you should have let her believe
falling out of the bikini.
You should have let her believe it. That would have been funny. She would have come back to school today and been like, Andrew wore a bikini in Puerto Rico. So yeah. So Christmas, is that all for Christmas? You got more for Christmas?
No, I mean, Christmas was super relaxed, and we ended it by you happened to pick me up, and when we were in the middle of cleaning the kitchen, pick me up and put me on the counter, and I had you trapped with my legs wrapped around you, and I told the kids to run go get my tweezers, and I started yanking downstairs out of him because they were like crawling out of his nose. And so apparently somebody ordered you.
Yeah. Jake Mont, thank you. Yes, I see this. There's a glare from the lights.
Because they saw my individual nose hair plucking and saw just how sad it made him. He teared up and he was crying about it.
Birdie.
So are you going to try it on camera?
No, because I can't see anything.
Yes, you can. I can see it from here.
I don't have my contacts in.
I can see it from here. I can give you.
No.
That looks like a medieval tool.
No, it's just...
It looks like a torture device, so good job, Jacob.
Super simple.
Willow wants you to test it on her.
You want me to test on your whiskers? No.
So then obviously Christmas happened and was over, and then we cleaned up Christmas and packed up to go to Puerto Rico for a week, and that was... my first time ever going to a resort. It was not his first time, but it was both of our first times going to Puerto Rico.
Yep.
And pretty much as soon as we landed, the entire island lost power. So they were without power pretty much the entire trip.
Yeah, if you guys saw the news, we were there for that.
Which luckily, it doesn't take any power to hang out at the beach,
right? Which
was lovely and relaxing. But it was just doing of the stuff. There was not much adventuring happening.
Well, so the island lost power, but the resort had generators. Mm-hmm. And then the generators went out while I was watching the Michigan-Alabama game.
Yeah.
So we lost
and it was like what? It was like right around halftime, right?
Yeah, it was like right at the start of the third.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
And then you were like, okay, well, they're definitely going to lose now. And because you said that, then they won.
Yep. So we went back down to the pool, hung out down there with all of the other people that didn't know that they didn't have power in their rooms. We made some people upset, and then we saw some other people that found out on their own that were very upset. Yeah, I don't know if anything ever came of that for anybody because they weren't even offering anything. Unless you went up to them and said, hey, my food was in the mini fridge or whatever. What are you going to do about that? Or
who knows?
I wanted some AC because I got sunburned and now I'm just baking in my room. They had absolutely no intention of. Did you even get an email or anything?
No.
Wow. Yeah. So good job, Hyatt.
It was Hilton.
Or Hilton. It's all the same thing. They're basically
Hilton, Ponce.
They're basically all owned by the same people at this point.
Okay.
Every time you see a commercial, it's like our family of hotels, and it's like 30 logos. And
okay. Well, I'm just letting you know it was not a Hyatt.
Okay. And we didn't end up golfing.
We did not golf. We did not zip line. We did not ATV. We did not horseback ride. No. We did not go on a boat.
No. We got to walk around.
We did a lot of walking.
In a ghost town, basically.
Oh my gosh. Literally, there were like maybe 2 other people around.
Let's see if I can show this.
And only 1 to 2 restaurants open who happen to have generators.
Which we were lied to about that when we first left to go into town on New Year's Day.
Yeah, it was It was an experience, but it was still lovely and relaxing, and I had fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah. It's like a main drag.
Yeah.
Like a walking
See how
sidewalk.
literally there is nobody wrong way. There's literally nobody.
There's
It was a
dogs.
complete ghost town and just dogs walking around everywhere.
Yep. So we went to we took a taxi from the resort. Well, we haven't talked about how Steven hooked us up, but
Okay. Now you can backpedal and start talking about Steven.
okay.
He just happened to be our taxi driver from the San Juan airport all the way down to Ponce, which is about an hour and 20-minute drive.
Like and so we were looking as we landed. Well, we looked before and everything. Rental cars were going to be like $110 per day plus all the other fees. So it would have been $700 or something like that for a rental car, which if the power had been on would have been a good option because there were some places that we could have gotten to.
Right. Because everything is about an hour to 2 hours. Yeah. Like the longest drive on the island was 2 hours.
Yeah. So we walked out and we were trying to get an Uber. I was looking at the rates. It was like almost $400 for an Uber for the ride from the hotel. I was like, it would have been cheaper to do the rental car at that point because that's all you're only getting the drive there and the drive back. But the other problem that we would have run into is that when we got down to Ponce, there were no Ubers the entire time we were there.
Right. Yeah, it was wild, which I was completely thrown off from because it was peak season, because that's when all the tourists come is during Christmas break. And I just assumed there were people who were going to be Uber drivers who were expecting that to either be their side hustle or even their main. But no, taxi was the primary. And oh my God. The other taxi drivers that we had were complete scam artists.
Well, not the one that took us to lunch to the Italian restaurant.
No, okay, that was the one that the hotel had called for us. The other one though.
So we had to go. We went and stood in line because they had a sign, and we made the decision like right when we saw the sign. Said that all the fares were flat rate. So we saw it was like $127 on the sign. I was like, all right, let's just do that, and we'll figure everything else out when we get to the resort. And we end up going with this guy. He's a couple of years younger than us, but he's like, I think he's 32.
He said he was 33, but yeah.
So he drives us down there and we're asking questions. He's telling us all the, he's like, oh yeah, if you were staying up here, I would know a lot more, but down there, I don't really know much. And it was fine. We got down there and he's like, he told us that we could call him to bring us back if we wanted to. So that was good. And yeah, he drops us off. We check in, do all that good stuff. We kind of explore the resort for a little bit and had some kind of okay food. Not really the greatest, but
it was like mediocre bar food.
Yeah. Well, we got there in like right at dinner time ish, something like that. Yeah. And so got there. We were trying to figure out some things to do. The resort's like separated into two things. There's like a river that goes through it out and lets out into the Caribbean. And we went to the other side, which is the Gulf side. And there's another pool over there. And there was like nobody there. It was great. There's a Japanese restaurant on that side. And nobody on their staff speaks English at all. Nobody. So that was an experience.
Which he understands Spanish, but doesn't fluently speak. Yeah. So he can understand if somebody's talking to him, but like still saying English back.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't do either.
Yep. So go through all that. Then New Year's Day, we finally decide to.
No, you completely missed New Year's Eve. So the hotel that I booked, I intentionally chose this hotel because they were going to do a large fireworks show, and fireworks are something that he loves.
Right.
Loves fireworks. And so they were doing like this huge New Year's Eve party that I knew neither of us really wanted to participate in. We were just going to do dinner and then make.
What? Keep talking.
Why are you?
I was trying to look at the time.
I know, and you had a weird look like we weren't even recording.
No,
and I was about to be like, do we have to start this over again? No. Okay, anyways. So New Year's Eve, we didn't even make it till like 9:30.
was like 10, close to 10.
You were like falling asleep next to me. And I was like, no, come on. We haven't done anything for New Year's Eve together ever. We have never done New Year's Eve together ever. We have both gone to bed before midnight and not done anything. No party, no hanging out with friends, nothing. And this was the first year we're going to stay up till midnight and watch the huge fireworks show off of the back patio of our room that was going to have literally a front row seat to the fireworks show.
Well, and the party itself was stupid expensive.
I know,
but what they said was?
It was like $295 a person.
Yeah. And when we came back, we were at the other side of the resort earlier for dinner and hanging out. And there were people already lining up in the lobby to go down to where the pool bar and stuff is at this resort. And they were all in like tuxes and stuff.
Okay, well, I had a fancy dress for it just in case we decided. He was, of course, dressed like this.
Yeah. I brought one polo with me.
Anyways, the point being, the fireworks show we missed because we are old and boring.
I wasn't old and boring. I just preferred to sleep.
Old and boring. Old and boring.
So, yeah.
So then New Year's Day, back to your story.
Yep. We were told that the power had come back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that we could finally go explore downtown Ponce.
Yep. So we got a taxi, went to an Italian restaurant. It looked pretty nice and fancy. We got some pizza, drinks. They had power, everything like that there.
And then we walked out.
And
it was the only restaurant that had
That's when those pictures were taken.
Everything else was closed. The museums were closed. Yep. Literally everything.
Yep. There's the Don Q distillery, and there's like a mansion is in that town. And we tried to look at tours. All the English tours were sold out for the entire duration of when we were going to be there. Mm-hmm. All the charters and stuff either no longer existed and nobody updated Google business listings or anything, or they were booked out as well for literally weeks.
Yeah.
So we didn't do any foreplanning or anything. We were just kind of going to do it on the fly, and that completely backfired.
But
the only thing that played in our favor.
It's kind of good that we did that because a lot of things were canceled because of the power outage.
Right. But I'm sure
and were non-refundable for most of them.
I'm sure you can get a refund for booking a tour in the literal place.
You don't think that they would be like, "Oh, no English, sorry,
That's
no
why
English,
you call your bank.
Can't understand you."
That's why you call your bank, and it made global news. So just call the bank and be like, "Hey, we were affected by that power outage, and they won't give us a refund. What do we need to do?" They would take care of it.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I've very rarely ever had to do that. I think I've done it like twice ever. So it's not like they would look at my account and be like, "You do this all the time. You're just abusing it." It's no.
I've never done it, so I really don't know the process.
You just call, well, I think you can probably just do chat now. But yeah. So we went out. We ended up walking around. Nothing was open. So we went back to the same place to have them call for a cab for us because we didn't have any numbers to call.
Right.
My phone worked perfectly fine, but we didn't know who to call, like who would be trustworthy or what. So we went back, and the girl at the bar called the company, the same company that picked us up at the hotel, and we ended up having the same driver. So either he was the only one working. He happened to show up pretty quickly too, so he was like in the area. But he took us back, and then what was that? That was Wednesday. So Thursday, when power did actually finally come back on, we ended up going back to a different part of the town. But the cab that we took, so we went to the counter. There a couple other random things happened at the resort. There was a car stolen, apparently. Something must have happened. Maybe it was the cab driver stole the car.
Who knows? Who knows?
We got down to the concierge desk and asked for them to call a cab for us. And they were like, "No, we can't do that." Like,
when they had literally the day before.
Like,
we're not allowed to anymore, they said.
Yeah, we're not allowed to make recommendations, but here's a list.
Right.
Like,
we're not allowed to call for you because they can't accept any kind of responsibility if something were to happen.
Yeah. But here's the list for you.
Okay.
Here's who we would have called. Just call them yourself.
That instills great strength in.
Yeah. So we called this. I called a couple different ones. I had also called a bunch of the places in the marina, called a bunch of restaurants. Mm-hmm. Like I said, apparently they just don't care.
Yeah.
Because things that were marked closed had other things in it, and there was no update on Google Maps as to what the business was. But pretty much all the charters and boats and things that you could do were all gone.
Yeah, like people literally moving back to the States.
The one woman
and still had Google listings.
Yeah, the one woman that we did talk to was like, "Oh, call these," and I looked them up on Google Maps, and none of them existed. I called all of them, and none of them answered. So
wild.
Yeah, I would say if you're planning to go to Puerto Rico, you should probably stay closer to San Juan, even though it's not.
I didn't like it up there.
No,
it was
but now,
so busy.
Like now, if you want to do stuff,
okay,
right now,
sure,
you should stay in San Juan, or have a rental car and expect to drive everywhere every day. Mm-hmm. Those are basically your only two options because there's no public transportation. You can't just jump on a bus or whatever. Mm-hmm. The places that are open are so obscure; they're kind of difficult to find. The restaurant that we ended up going to after paying for a 2-minute cab ride, $20 because he drove
us for about 30 minutes.
Yeah. Didn't know where we were going.
But that was hands down the best restaurant out of the entire week, in my opinion. Yeah. It was like a delicious seafood restaurant on the
It was on the Caribbean.
Okay, but it was kind of like
it's like a bay.
Yeah, sure. There were people crabbing or lobstering or something right outside.
Yeah. Spearfishing.
Stuff. Yeah. So we had like a show and dinner.
Yep. Then we left there, walked around a little bit, saw more of the ghost town. Mm-hmm. Not because they didn't have power this time, but because places just
everything was closed. There was like one hole in the wall bar that it looked like it was all locals just hanging out inside. Yep. And then, I wasn't like really wanting like a bar scene, like pool, it was like a pool hall bar kind of place. I wasn't really into that. And then we did find a beautiful spot outside and saw a lovely sunset. And the moon felt so far away there. That was like my one main observation. It feels so much closer here.
Which is weird because it's literally the same distance.
It just, it felt so much smaller, which therefore would be farther away.
You know what I bet? It's probably because of the amount of sky that you're able to see. So
maybe.
It's a smaller portion of the sky, but it's literally the same size.
Maybe. But yeah, there was no light pollution at all. So we could see all the stars, all the planets. Yep. Venus, Saturn. What other planet? Did we see any other planets?
No, but we saw... I mean, you can see Sirius here too.
Right.
But it was like flickering.
So bright. So bright.
Yep.
So we saw the beautiful stars, but not the fireworks.
And then you got locked in the bathroom.
Oh my God. Yes, that was terrifying. I even texted him and I was like, I'm trapped in the bathroom. And he was busy talking to some stranger. And I finally broke the door down.
This guy was sitting at the bar when I was checking out and I don't remember how the conversation got started, but we ended up talking and he was like, yeah, my son is in the Marine Corps. He's a major, just like a flight instructor, Marine Corps here on the East Coast. And I was like, oh yeah. And I had asked them if they could call a cab. So while they were trying to call a cab, he was like, oh no, I'll just drive you guys. And we're like, okay.
And I love how he just freely agreed to a stranger taking us back, which luckily turned out to be perfectly fine. But, stranger danger did go through my head.
I was bigger than him, so
I know you were, but you never know.
Well, I intentionally sat behind him, so if I needed to choke him out to make sure we got to the right place.
Okay. But the hotel was literally 2 minutes away.
Yeah, we really realized how bad the cab driver screwed us over when we got back in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Like,
he knew as soon as he had said where we were staying, he was like, oh, yeah, it's literally around the corner. I have no problem.
We could have walked. It would have been a weird, like ugly, because it's like through a old like shipping port area. Mm-hmm. So it would have been not the nicest walk.
Right.
And at
very
night.
Dark at that point. So never know what's behind the corner. But anyways, all the dogs were so cute. And they were so friendly too.
Yeah. Well, was it Steven that told us that a lot of people, there's like a nonprofit or something like that
will ship them back to the States because people are specifically asking for Puerto Rican dogs.
And they're not like different from our dogs. They're just inbred and random strays. They're not like,
but very
not like
docile.
Their own breed.
Yeah.
I think I'm almost certain that it has to be because of their temperament, because people know that they're fine with other dogs. They're fine with vehicles and people because they don't chase after them. Mm-mm. They just
no
wander
chasing,
around.
no aggression, no nothing. Just very chill dogs.
Yep. Whisper's trying to figure out what's going on. This is the bad thing about having a blind dog, is that you're not supposed to rearrange your furniture or change your house around too much, because they map out their steps and the feel for everything. And
so us setting this up in the middle of her mapping is not very good, but she'll be okay because she's happy and content right there.
You got some sun though.
Not really. That's like the only thing I'm sad about. I was in the shade 80% of the time and sun about 20% of the time. Obviously, I didn't want to burn, and I used lots of sunscreen.
We also used like SPF 100, I think, or 70.
It was 70, but and I made sure to really coat it on. I didn't want to burn, but I thought I was going to get a much better layer. Obviously, it was the first time I'd been in the sun since my birthday, which is August 10th. So
she wasn't happy about the sand at the beach either. If anybody else has ever been to the Caribbean,
black.
Yeah, if anybody else,
I was completely shocked by that.
The water was clear.
Yeah, but it gives the illusion of being dirty because the sand,
not dirty like ours is, because ours is like murky almost from the sand, because the sand is like mixed into it. Theirs, because it was like all rocks, so it didn't pick up anything.
You're talking about Oak Island, which has.
I'm talking about all of it around here.
No,
it always looks dirty. It always looks dirty.
Don't even listen to him. He's talking about Southport Oak Island, where the river flows down, the Cape Fear River flows down into, and that's why it's all murky.
Even here.
Carolina Beach in Wrightsville is crystal clear. Topsail is even more crystal. It's literally the #1 beach in all of the North Carolina beaches. Yes, because it is the most clean and clear beaches, which is where we're going to move, by the way.
Okay. Is it raining or is that wind?
That's wind, and it's about to start raining.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So jump scare coming back from almost 90-degree weather to 30 degrees.
It was real feel it was above 90 the entire time we were there.
When we got off the plane, I was still wearing my dress because we'd been walking around all day, and a little sundress, and I'm like,
and I was in shorts and a t-shirt, perfectly fine.
And so now back to wearing jackets. Yay.
Well, it's supposed to be 63 today.
Yeah, today is the warmest day of.
Well, everyone else is getting hit by the winter storm. We're getting hit by it too, but we're at 63 in rain.
But it's dropping to 30 tomorrow.
Okay, but we're still not going to get any. There's. Oh my god! Oh no! Back up! Hold on, sorry. Real quick. Yeah, I'm going to pause this. We'll come right back to this. My dog is. Hold on. Sorry. Didn't want her to knock over any cords or unplug anything. Or
she started to go right into where the cameras are.
Yeah. Well, power.
Right.
Everything is right here. She would have ripped everything down. So yeah. Then we just called Steven, give him a shout out again. And I have a link, maybe additional links as well by that time. I can't tell what this is supposed to. It's like something from the beach. But he knows all the places. Mm-hmm. If you're like, hey, I'm going to this spot, reach out to him. I'll ask him if I can even put one of his business numbers or something down there. So basically,
if you're planning a trip to Puerto Rico, you should give him a shout because he was a great tour guide on the way back. We had 4 hours to kill before our flight on our leave. And
so we took our cab driver to lunch.
Yeah, we did. After he took us to like Old San Juan and just, around the island a little bit more.
Yeah. And because obviously he's a cab driver and he's local, he knows both the spots to go, but he also knows when not to go there. He knows like, oh, it's going to be busy or, timing. He knows when not to push it as far as spending too much time in any certain
And he
area.
did say if you have an opportunity to fly JetBlue, that's the best one because they have their own terminal.
Yeah. In San Juan specifically. Obviously, your airport's going to be different.
Especially when you're leaving San Juan again and flying back to wherever you're going, if you're doing JetBlue, you can do your own terminal and avoid the really long lines. Whereas we flew American, so we had to be in the very long lines. And then Andrew had to deal with the new North Carolina ID throwing off the TSA people again.
Yeah, they are sometime probably, I guess, in the last year or so, North Carolina's changed the actual look of our ID. So she went through with the old one. And then the guy's looking at mine. He's like, the fuck is this?
Yeah, because it looks fake. Yeah. I'll straight up say it looks fake.
There's a bunch of transparent stuff on it. There's a bunch of...
And the picture's black and white.
Yeah.
It looks fake.
There's some transparent spots. But there's lots of like security features. You'd have to have both like the actual card template.
So yeah, the guy put it like under the microscope and like lights through it and everything. He fully believed that you were doing some illegal crap.
Yeah. Your name is intertwined into all different kinds of things, which is, so there's like, for North Carolina, maybe other states are doing this as well. They have to be doing both printing onto a card. I have to change
my name before I do that.
Printing onto a card and like 3D printing on top of it. So like your name, there's a green annul on it, and the tail is your name repeated over and over again.
Yeah, wild.
Yep. So that was Puerto Rico.
And now we're back to freezing cold weather.
Normal weather.
Freezing cold weather.
I will say for anybody interested in going there that's typically hot like me, if you go this time of the year or when it's projected to be like 80s or whatever the entire time that you're there, on the South Coast, on the Caribbean, there was a strong breeze the entire time, and I almost never sweat. The only time that I sweat, which was completely out of character, just stepping outside here half the time makes me
literally sweat. Getting off the couch, you're sweating.
Whatever.
Oh my God. You'll stand up and you'll be like, oh, my balls is hot.
Other than actually laying directly in the sun on the beach and having the reflection and everything like that.
Right.
Didn't like sweat at all.
Yeah, it was so lovely. The breeze was amazing, and it was amazing not hearing him complain about how hot he was. Like that was probably the highlight of my trip. Was you not? I'm too hot to do this. I don't want to. I'm too hot.
Yeah, I was dragging her around. I kept getting bored. I'm like, let's go find something else to do.
He doesn't like to go to the pool or the beach here, and we live at the beach. Yep. So I had hoped to take some time off work and relax. And, I'm happy to relax poolside. I'm happy to relax beachside, especially when he had freaking bar service and would have had unlimited drinks. But no, he wanted to do after about 1 hour of relaxing. Whereas here at home, and I said this over and over and over again, at home, you can sit on the couch all day for 8 hours straight and not move except for to go to the bathroom and get a snack. But when it's actually relax time somewhere else, no. No. Whereas I do here, hence I'm in my workout stuff so I can work out after this. But no, when it's relax time on a vacation, he wants to do. So we were kind of opposites this past week. It was interesting.
We definitely spent the majority of our time outside.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So you should be happy about that. At least.
I was very happy, which is why I'm confused as to why I don't have a darker tan. Like, I'm very faint still. Bummed about that.
I look red. No, on the camera, I look red.
Yeah, on the camera you do, but in person he doesn't.
No.
He's not red at all. He didn't get sunburned at all. Neither of us did.
Nope. I did kind of get rid of some of the sunglass tan line.
Yes, he was very conscious about that. And I asked if it was because he's on camera now. And he was like, no, I just have to do it one time a year. I'm like, okay. As soon as you put him back on while you're driving, you're going to get it back. I don't understand, but okay.
But I didn't want it to like be worse.
Okay, whatever.
Because if I didn't, and us sitting out there, and if I would have left my sunglasses on like down by the water or anything like that, I would have like very apparent sunglasses on right now. I didn't want to wear my sunglasses inside.
It's not anything that...
Inside.
Yeah, it's not anything that I've found unattractive, so I just didn't even think about it, to be honest. It's just part of who you are. You always have sunglass tan. Because I'm protecting my eyes. Right, so I've never thought about it. Yep. Which is why I thought it was funny that you were being very conscious about it.
Yeah. So, guys, make sure you are subscribed. Our subscriber count grew for the entire month of December, 20 to 30 new subscribers a day. So thank you. Thank you, everybody who's been subscribing.
Yes, thank you.
Maybe also leave a comment. Let us know who you are.
Yes. Be engaging subscribers, not just... Yeah.
And that's 20 to 30 on YouTube. I don't pay attention to the users on the other platforms because our main focus of growth has specifically been YouTube, and everything else has kind of been tertiary. Not to say that we don't do stuff on the other platforms. Spotify just changed a lot of stuff last month or two.
Okay.
You can upload shorts now as like a trailer for each episode. So I've done that for a couple.
Okay.
They're making some things so that you can more neatly integrate with other platforms. Previously, at Spotify, the artwork for an episode had to be square, at least to be able to display correctly, 1 by 1. Okay. Now you upload both a thumbnail in 16 by 9 and 1 by 1. So there's some new things to figure out. There's some things, yeah. And I mean, actually,
luckily you're the expert on that, and I'll just keep saying okay.
Well, we're looking to move away from Spotify we're still going to use Spotify, to be clear, and Apple and everything else, but the actual audio video host for platforms that are not YouTube, not
we might be moving to our own website, correct?
Potentially, yeah. It just depends on, I mean, we could do that temporarily and then see how traffic and volume, because I don't want it to impact people's experience. I don't want it to be, if we get like a really good episode, I don't want it to be throttled, and I don't know how well Cloudflare handles video at that level. So we'll see. And that's it. Now that the windows are getting blown out behind us.
We're getting blown out.
Anything else? Like, subscribe, comment, go back, listen to the episode with Nick, episode 119. Go back and listen to that one. Leave a comment on that video to let us know, if you're interested in an autographed copy of his book. We'll probably run that for, 2 weeks to give it enough time for people to be able to see that, since it literally just came out today. And yeah, we'll let you guys know, and we'll get your address, and you'll get a free book in the mail. We have to send them to him. He has to send them back to us. I don't want to make him have to deal with packaging everybody's stuff up, but so you'd probably be looking like February by the time you would get your copy in the mail, which conveniently would be when his new book comes out. And he did say he was going to send us some galley copies, so maybe we could throw in one in somebody's thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So if you want a galley copy of his upcoming book that's released in February, let us know. You might get lucky. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah.
All that's over.
I know.
It's the new year now. We're saying Happy New Year.
Okay. So happy Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Not yet.
Bye.
Bye.